Hi guys, in this video we'll take a look at some problems based on digital electronics. So we'll try and cover all the topics that are included in the GATE syllabus and we'll look at some problems based on each and every topic. So the first problem is based on number system. It says a number in 4-bit 2's complement representation is x3, x2, x1, x0. What will be the number when stored using 8-bit? In 2's complement, 1's complement and sign magnitude. In all these forms, what happens? The same thing happens is that MSB represents sign bit. If MSB is equal to 1, the number is taken as negative, and if MSB is taken as 0, the number is taken as positive. Now we want to extend a 4-bit number to 8-bit number. In that case, you can copy and paste MSB as many number of times as you want. So what I'll do is I'll fill the other 4 bits using MSB and then write the number like this. Is it fine? So that still the sign bit remains the same, that is MSB. The sign bit is x3. So the answer would be D. This is a general rule that when you want to increase the number of bits in a number, then you copy and paste MSB as many number of times as you want. Next question. Represent the decimal number 6248 in BCD and 2421 code. So what happens? Each decimal digit can be expressed as combination of several numbers, like 0 can be written as 0, 0, 0, 0. Similarly here 0, 0, 0, 0. 1, 0, 0, 0, 1. Here also 1 is 0, 0, 0, 1. 2, 0, 0, 1, 0. Here also 0, 0, 1, 0. Are you getting my point? If you convert this 2421 code into decimal, you will multiply 1 into 1, 0 into 2, 0 into 4, 0 into 2. It will be 1. Then 0 into 1, 1 into 2, 0 into 4, 0 into 2. It will get 2. 3, 0, 0, 1, 1. Again 0, 0, 1, 1. 1 into 1, 1. 1 into 2, 2. So 1 plus 2 is 3. Similarly 4, 0, 1, 0, 0. Similarly here 0, 1, 0, 0. 5, 0, 1, 0, 1. Similarly here 0, 1, 0, 1. 6, 0, 1, 1, 0. Here also 0, 1, 1, 0. 7, 0, triple 1. Here also 7 will be 0, triple 1. 8, 1, triple 0. But now here it will change. 1, 1, 1, 0. 9, 1, 0, 0, 1. Here it will be 1, 1, 1, 1. So that is how you represent all decimal number in BCD and 2421 code. So now if you want to convert 6428 in BCD, the value of 6 is 0, 1, 1, 0. 2 is 0, 0, 1, 0. 4, 0, 1, 0, 0. 8, 1, 0, 0, 0. This is in BCD. In 2421, 6 is 0, 1, 1, 0. 2 is 0, 0, 1, 0. 4, 0, 1, 0, 0. 8 is 1, 1, 1, 0. Okay. So that is your 2421 code. Only the coding of 8 and 9 is changing as compared to BCD code. Rest of the bits are same. Next it is saying calculate the binary equivalent of 2 by 3 to 8 places, then convert binary to decimal. How close is the result to 2 by 3? So if you want to perform division in binary number, 2 can be written as 1, 0 and 3 can be written as 1, 1. So 2 by 3. Now 2 is less than 3. We cannot divide it directly. So we'll place a decimal. After placing a decimal, a 0 is used here. Now it becomes 4. If you multiply 0, 1, 1 by 1, 4 minus 3, we will again obtain 1. Now 1 is basically less than 3. 1, 1 is 3, right? So we cannot directly divide it. So what we'll do is 1, 0 will come here. Now it becomes 2. 2 is less than 3. So we'll place a 0 here, 0 here. Now it becomes 4. If it becomes 4, you will multiply 3 by 1. After subtracting 3 from 4, we again get 1. But again it is now 2. 2 is less than 3, so we'll place a 0. It again becomes 4. Again you multiply 0, 1, 1 by 1. Again after subtracting you get 1, 0. But again it is 2. 2 is less than 3, so we'll place a 0 here. So that means it will become 0.10101010 up to 8 places. Now it is saying we have to convert this binary to decimal, and how close is the result to 2 by 3? So what is the power? 2 to the power minus 1, 2 to the power minus 3, minus 5, minus 7. So it will be, if you convert it to decimal, at position of ones, we have the power minus 1, minus 3, minus 5 and minus 7. Okay. So it comes out as 0.6640625. Okay. And if you directly take 2 by 3 in decimal, it is 0.666666. So it is accurate up to 2 decimals. Okay. So that is how the result is close to the exact value. So I have used the basic principle of division, that when we divide a small number by a big number, then we either place a decimal or after decimal we place a 0. Okay. That way we can continue the division. Next problem. It is asking the minimum number of 2 input NOR gates required to implement the simplified value of the following equation. Now in this case, if you want to find out the minimum number of NOR gate, first we need to simplify the expression. And we have to write POS form in order to find the number of NOR gate. We have 4 variables, so I'll draw 4 variable K map. Okay. This is WX, YZ. Now I'll place decimal values here, 0, 1, 3, 2, 4, 5, 7, 6, 8, 9, 11, 10, 12, 13, 15, 14. Now it is based on min terms. So which min terms are given? 0, 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 10, 11. These min terms are given. Now you have to try to form the maximum pairing, and if you see here, we can form an octet like this. Okay. These 2 rows, by rolling the K map, will form an octet. So if you write F W X Y Z, what is the equation of this octet? This 0 is common here, 0 is common here. So it is X bar. Once we have the simplified expression, I can directly implement X bar in terms of a NOR gate. W, X, Y, Z. So how many NOR gates are required? Only one NOR gate is required to implement simplified expression. For minimum number of NAND gate, you have to convert to simplified SOP, And for minimum number of NOR gate, you have to convert to simplified POS. Next, how many Boolean functions of the type f x comma y comma z equal to f x bar y bar z bar? Now, if these two functions are equal, that means if you keep function as 0, 0, 0, it should also be equal to 1, 1, 1. If you keep as 0, 0, 1, it should also be equal to 1, 1, 0. If you keep it as 0, 1, 0, it should also be equal to 1, 0, 1. If you keep it as 0, 1, 1, it should also be equal to 1, 0, 0. That means if you have a truth table like this, 3 variable will have 8 possible combination. And function at 0, 0, 0, if it is f1, then at 1, 1, 1 also it will be f1. If 0, 0, 1 is f2, then 1, 1, 0 is also f2. If 0, 1, 0 is f3, 1, 0, 1 is also f3. 0, 1, 1 is f4, it is also f4. So you can have 4 independent entries in truth table. 4 independent entries in truth table. Each of these 4 can be either 0 or 1. So how many combination can we have? 2 to the power 4, that is 16. Because each of the 4 variables can take on 2 values, either 0 and 1. So the answer would be D. Next problem. What Boolean function does the circuit represent? In such kind of question, when switches are in parallel, then it represents OR operation. When switches are in series, then it represents AND operation. So now first of all, B and C are in parallel, so B plus C. D and E are in parallel, D plus E. But these parallel combinations are connected in series, so AND operation. F is in parallel, plus F. And A is in series with the entire combination, so this will be equal to Y. So that is A. Okay, so the answer would be A. B plus C into D plus E plus F multiplied by A. Next problem. The gates G1 and G2 in the figure have propagation delay 10 nanosecond and 20 nanosecond. If input Vi makes an abrupt change from logic 0 to 1 at time t0, we need to find output waveform of V0. Okay. Assume this variable as X and this is V0. So this delay is 10 nanosecond and this one is 20 nanosecond. So if Vi, I'll draw the waveforms here. In such kind of problems, all you have to draw is all the waveforms to find out the output. Okay. So Vi is given as that it goes from 0 to 1 at time t0. Okay. Earlier it was 0. Now the variable X is basically complement of Vi. X, if it is complement of Vi, ideally it should be like this. Like this, right? Complement will be like this. When Vi is 0, it will be 1, and when Vi is 1, it will be 0. But due to delay of 10 nanosecond, how it will be? It will go like this. It will go to 0 after a delay of 10 nanosecond. So this will be T0 plus 10. So what I have done in this problem is, actually I have drawn the ideal waveform without any delay, and then I have added a delay to the waveform. Next, what you have to do is, you have to take XOR of X and Vi. If we take XOR of X and Vi to find V0, again we will first draw the ideal waveform. 0 and 1 XOR is 0 and 1 XOR is 1. 1 and 1 XOR is 0. And 1 and 0 is again 1. This is the ideal waveform. But this waveform will be right shifted by 20 nanosecond. Ten. T0 plus 20. This is T0 plus 10. It will be right shifted by 20. So it will be T0 plus 30. This will be the waveform of V0. Okay. So the answer would be this one, B. This is T0 plus 10, T0 plus 20, T0 plus 30. Okay. So what we do is we draw the ideal waveform and then right shift the waveform by a value equal to the delay offered by the logic gate. Next problem. Two square wave of equal period t but with a time delay tau are applied to a logic circuit whose truth table is given. The high and low level of the output digital circuit are 5 volt and 0 volt. Which one of the following shows the correct variation of average value of output voltage for tau varying between average value of output voltage of tau for 0 to tau, actually t by 2. So see this. How is this logic gate? 0, 0 it gives 1, 1, 1 it gives 1. So it is basically a XNOR gate, equality detector. Because when both inputs are equal, then it is giving the output as 1. Now in this case, what we have is, we have two waveforms, X and Y. Both are square wave and both are right shifted by an amount tau. T by 2. Okay, T, 3T by 2. Now when you draw Y, Y will be right shifted by an amount tau. If it is right shifted by an amount tau, it will be like this. Okay. Then what about the output value? Since no delay is mentioned, directly I will draw the output waveform. No delay of logic gate is mentioned actually, right? So when both inputs will be equal, the output will be 1. And if both inputs are unequal, the output will be 0. Now 1, 0 it will be 0. If both are equal, it will be 1. 1, 0 it will be 0. 0, 0 it will again be 1. 1, 0 again 0. 1, 1 again 1. So this value is tau. So from tau up to t by 2 it is 1. And from t by 2 plus tau up to t again it is 1. So when you want to calculate V0 average, you can see that the period of waveform is t by 2. Period of V0 is t by 2. And it is 1, that is 5 volt in how much duration? Up to t by 2 minus tau. That is 10 by t into t by 2 minus tau. That is 5 minus 10 tau by t. Okay. So it is a straight line whose slope is minus 10 by t. It is a straight line whose slope is minus 10 by t and intercept is 5. That is the answer would be C. Okay. It will be a decreasing curve. As you keep on increasing the value of tau, the average output voltage will go on decreasing. Next question, what will be the pulse train at the output of XOR gate look like? Okay. So what we have done is, we have applied a train of input at both the inputs 1 0 1 0 0 1 1 and 0 1 1 0 1 0 1. And we know the truth table of XOR gate is how? Let me write down the truth table of XOR gate. 0 0 it gives 0, 0 1 it gives 1, 1 0 again it gives 1, and 1 1 it gives as 0. That is the truth table of XOR gate. Okay. Now when you draw the pulse, how you will determine the pulse? This is the first input, 1 1 it gives 0. Then 1 0 it will give as 1. Then 0 1 it will again give as 1. Then 0 0 it will give as 0. Then 1 1 it will give as 0. Then 0 1 at F, 0 1 will give as 1. And 1 0 will give as 1. So that will be the waveform of the output at the output of the XOR gate. I have drawn first A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay. Because first A input will enter and at last G input will enter the XOR gate. Next problem. Draw 4 variable K map, plot 2 ones and 6 X for the don't care on the map based on the truth table. Draw appropriate loops on groups of 1 and X's and write simplified Boolean expression. So how many combinations are we given? We are given 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. That means what is happening is, we are given the output for 10 combinations of input, but in 4 variable, how many combinations are possible? 16 combination. But we only know the outcome of 10 combination. So other 6 combination will work as don't care for us. Okay. MSB is D and LSB is A. Okay. Now I'll place the decimal values. Now 1 at the output is only present at 8 and 9. And after 10, all the inputs are don't cares. So 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 14. These are don't care because they do not appear in input combination. So remember, whichever input combination cannot occur is treated as don't care. Okay. Now what we'll do is, we'll combine these X's and 1's to form minimum grouping. This will be the best grouping. In this one is common. So you can say F is actually equal to D. Is it fine? So that is the minimized logic expression based on K-map. The last problem of this set, it says in a given switching function, the number of variables are 4, number of prime implicants are M, and number of EPI are M minus 1. Then number of minimal expression. The number of minimal expression is always equal to, you can memorize this, Pi minus EPI. So M minus 1, that is equal to 1. So the answer would be C. Okay. The only term remaining that is not included in EPI will be either RPI or SPI. Okay, so minimum logic expression can be only one. That is including all the EPI, and if the remaining term is RPI, we'll ignore that, and if it is SPI, then we have to consider it. So the minimum expression in any case will be only one. So this will be all from this lecture. In the next one, we'll see some more problems based on digital. Hi guys, in this video we'll take a look at some other problems based on digital electronics, and we'll continue from where we left off. Okay, so our major focus in this session will be on the problems based on combinational circuit, and we'll also look at few problems based on sequential circuit. So let us see the first problem. With the use of map, find the simplest SOP expression for the function f into g. Okay. Now, if you want to find out f into g, first we have to convert it to standard form. So, I'll convert a, b, c bar. I'll multiply it by d plus d bar. Then a plus a bar, b plus b bar, c bar d. I'm just introducing the missing variables in the expression. Okay. Now it will be a, b, c bar, d bar, a, b, c bar, d, a, b, c bar, d, a bar, b, c bar, d, a, b bar, c bar, d, a bar, b bar, c bar, d, a bar, b, c, d bar, a bar, b bar, c, d bar, a, b bar, c, d bar, a bar, b bar, c, d bar. Now, if you write it in terms of min terms, the first one is 1100, that is 12. Second one, 1101, that is 13. Third one, 1101, that is again 13. Then 0101, that is 5. Then 1001, that is 9. Then 0001, that is 1. Then 0110, that is 6. Then 0010, that is 2. 1010, that is 10. Okay. Then last 1010, that is again 2. So it will be sigma m 1, 2, 6, 9, 10, 12, 5, 6, 9, 10, 12, 13. Okay. 1, 2, 5, 6, 9, 10, 12, 13. Similarly, when you talk about G function, it is in POS form. Again, we have to convert it to SOP. Into standard form. A plus B bar plus C bar plus D. A bar plus B bar plus C bar plus D. Then A bar plus B bar plus C plus D bar. A plus B bar plus C plus D bar. I've just introduced missing variable in the terms. Now it will be max term 0, 0, 1, 1. 0, 0, 1, 1, that is 3. Then 0, 1, 1, 0, that is 6. Then 1, 1, 1, 0, that is how much? 14. Then 1, 1, 0, 1, that is 13. Then 0, 0, 0, 1, that is 1. Which means in terms of min terms, how much it will be? 0, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15. Okay. These many terms will be there in the function of G. 0, 1, 2, 4, 0, 1 minute. 0, 2, 4, A bar plus B bar plus C. It was actually A bar plus B bar. This one should be A bar plus B. So the last term should be 1 0 0 1. 1 0 0 1 means 9. This should actually be 9. Okay. If it is 9, 9 will be erased from here and 1 will appear. So it will be 0, 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 15. Okay. These terms will appear. Now when you multiply both the functions, in that case we will consider the common minterm because the product will be 1 only if both the functions are 1. So what are the common terms? 1, 2, 5. Okay. 1 to 5, then 10 is common, 12 is common. 1, 2, 5, 10 and 12. Now if you draw the K-map for the 4 variable function which has 5 terms, 1, 2, 5, 10 and 12. So I'll first draw 4 variable K-map. It will have 16 cells. Okay. So 1, 2, 5, 10 and 12. So how will be the grouping? These two can be clubbed, these two can be clubbed and this will be single. So this function will become A, B, C bar, D bar. That is this term. This is AB. This is C bar, D bar. And then the second term, it will be A bar, C bar, D. And the last term, B bar, C, D bar. Okay. That will be the function. Moving to the next problem. It says a sequential multiplexer is connected as shown in the figure. Each time the multiplexer receives the clock, it switches to the next channel and from 6 it goes back to 1. We are given the 4 input signals. We need to find the minimum clock frequency. Now, what it is saying is each clock tick implies multiplexer moving to next channel. And there are 4 inputs connected to the multiplexer and there will be only one output. So that is what is this multiplexer is doing. It is basically sampling analog signals. It is collecting the samples of analog signal and then transmitting it over the same channel. For sampling, we know the minimum sampling frequency is twice FM. What is the maximum frequency here? The maximum frequency here is this one, 4 into 10 to the power 3. So the answer should be 8 kilohertz. That is the minimum sampling frequency and that will exactly be equal to the clock frequency. So that is the answer should be 8. Is it fine? Next problem. It says the figure 1 shows a 4-bit binary ripple carry adder realized using full adders and figure 2 shows the circuit of a full adder. The propagation delay of XOR and OR gate are 20, 15 and 10. Assume all 4 inputs are initially reset to 0. At t equal to 0, we are applying the inputs. We need to find the time at which output will be stable. So the 2 inputs are 1, 1, 0, 0. Then 0, 1, 0, 0 and 1 carry is also added as 1. So the sum will be 1, 0, 1, 1 sum will be 0. There will be 1 carry. 1 1 sum will be 0, there will be 1 carry. So carry is basically moving from the third bit to 4 bit. Earlier there is no carry. So since there is no carry in earlier bits, there is no carry in first and second bit, their addition can happen simultaneously. Okay, but fourth bit has to wait for carry from third bit, right? Because there is carry moving forward from third bit, fourth bit has to wait for that carry and then only it can perform addition. So we have to determine at what time can the carry be produced from the fourth one, from the third one. See, for third one, x and y both are 1. So the XOR will be 0. But earlier, all inputs were reset. Now understand this point carefully. Earlier, all inputs were reset, that is x and y were 0. So the output of XOR gate would also be 0. And when you have applied 1, 1, then also it is 0. So its delay cannot be taken. How do you calculate the delay? We take the delay as the time difference between the edge at the input and the edge at the output. Now when 0, 0 input were applied, the output was 0. When 1, 1 is applied, the output is again 0. That means there is no edge in the output, so you cannot consider the delay of the XOR gate. Okay. Now here Z is coming as 0. 0, 0, again it will be 0. So again it is no delay. Remember, when output of a logic gate is 0 initially and it again comes out to be 0, then there is no delay given by that gate, because in that case there is no edge in the output. But 1, 1 will give output as 1. For AND gate it will be 1. And how much time will AND gate take? It will take 15 nanosecond. Are you getting my point? Suppose, let me show this by an example, x, y. Okay, what is the XOR of x 0, 0? It is 0. XOR of 1, 1, it is 0. So how you can say that there is a certain delay? That means there is no delay. Okay, when output of a logic gate does not change, you cannot consider the delay. Here the output of AND gate is changing from 0 to 1. So that means the delay is taken as 15. So 1 will go here at 15. This 0 is coming here. If 0 is coming here, 0 will go here. Again the output has not changed, so no delay. So 0 is arriving at 0 nanosecond, but 1 is arriving at 15 nanosecond. Output of 0 and 1 will be 1. But for that it will need this 1 at 15 nanosecond. So this 1 will come at 25 nanosecond, because OR gate will give a delay of 10. Remember, when OR gate wants to give an output as 1, so one input should be unity. If no input is 1, the output of OR gate can never be 1. So the input to the OR gate becomes 1 at 15 nanosecond. So it will wait till 15 nanosecond and then its output will go to 1 at 25 nanosecond. That means this carry is being propagated to the next bit at 25 nanosecond. Now let us focus on the fourth bit. On fourth bit, what is happening? The inputs are applied as 1, 0 at 0 nanosecond. But this carry from the previous bit is coming at 25 nanosecond as 1. So 1, 0 output will be 1. Now output of XOR gate has changed. So it will take 20 nanosecond. Now this one and this one, the output will be 0. That means no delay. Okay. The output will be stable because the output has not changed. Is it fine? But one thing that you have to see is 1 is coming at 20 nanosecond and other one is coming at 25 nanoseconds. So how it is happening? Suppose this input is T. This P is going to 1 at 20 nanosecond and Z is going to 1 at 25 nanosecond. So how will their XOR look like? 0, 0 it will be 0, 1, 0 it will be 1 and 1, 1 it will be 0. But due to delay of XOR gate delay is 20, this will get delayed by 20. So it will come at 40 and 45. That means the output becomes stable at 45 nanosecond. If both inputs were coming simultaneously, then it will exhibit no delay. But now the delay of this XOR gate will come out at 45 nanosecond. Is my point clear to you? Because there is a small glitch in the output during 40 to 45 nanosecond. So the output of the sum comes at 45 nanosecond. What about carry? This is coming at 25. This is coming at 20. So this AND gate will wait for both the inputs to become 1. Then it will give the output as 1. At what time? It will give the output as 1 at 25 plus 20. Sorry, 25 plus 15. 40 nanosecond. Once this output becomes 1, the output of the OR gate will also become 1 at 50 nanosecond. That means final sum appears at 45 nanosecond and the final carry appears at 50 nanosecond. So the answer to this problem will be 50 nanosecond because the final carry is taking a time equal to 50 nanosecond. Is my point clear to you? Remember, when there is no transition in the output, you cannot count the logic delay or delay of logic gate. Okay. And whenever there is a transition, then you have to consider the delay. Moving to the next problem, it says a safe has 5 locks V, W, X, Y and Z, all of which must be unlocked for the safe to open. The keys to the locks are distributed among 5 executive A, B, C and D. So we have 5 keys V, W, X, Y, Z. And the keys are distributed among 5 people A, B, C, D and E. A has the key of lock V and X. B has the key of locks V and Y. C has the key of locks W and Y. D has the key of locks X and Z. And E has the key of locks V and Z. It is first asking determine the minimum number of executive required to open the safe. How many minimum number of people are required in order to open the safe? Now, to open the lock V, either A, B or E can be present. So, V will be A plus B plus E. Either of them can be present. For W, we need C. For X, we need A plus D. For Y, B plus C and Z, D plus E. Since all the locks must be open, the function should be V, W, X, Y, Z. That means all outputs must be high for the lock to open. Okay. So from here, if you calculate the logic expression, how you will calculate the logic expression? By multiplying these terms. So if you simplify, the logic expression that will come out will be ACD plus ACE plus BCD plus CDE. Okay. CDE can combinedly open all the locks. BCD can open all the locks. Okay. Similarly, A, C and E can open all the locks. So that way, How many minimum number of executives are required? At least 3 executives are required to open the lock. Okay. All combination is this one. Who is the essential executive? In all the expressions, C is coming. So C is the essential executive. Because lock W can only be opened by C. Hence, without C, the locks cannot be opened. Next problem. A 1:8 demultiplexer with data input DIN and address input S0, S1 and S2 with S0 as LSB and Y0 to Y7 bar as a 8 demultiplexed output is to be designed using 2 to 4 decoder with enable input E and address input A0 and A1. DIN S0, S1, S2 can be connected to PQRS but not necessarily in this order. So basically it wants to design a demultiplexer. Okay. So if it wants to design a 1:8 demultiplexer, then that means S2, S1, S0. Based on that, we must have Y. For 0, 0, 0, we must select Y0 bar, 0, 0, 1, Y1 bar, 0, 0, 1, 0, Y2 bar, 0, 1, 1, Y3 bar, 1, 0, 0, Y4 bar, 1, 0, 1, Y5 bar, 1, 1, 0, Y6 bar, 1, 1, 1, Y7 bar. So, for these combinations, we must enable the first decoder, and for the lower three, we must enable the second decoder. So, first decoder should work here, second decoder should work here. Okay. Now we have 4 inputs, DIN, S0, S1 and S2. So if you see, for first decoder, S2 is permanently 0. For the second decoder, S2 is permanently 1. So we must design a logic such that the first decoder should work when S2 is 0 and the second decoder should work when S2 is 1. Is it fine? So I'll write Q as S2 because when it is 0, this decoder will work, and when it is 1, this will become 0, this decoder will work. What about P? P I'll take DIN, R and S I'll take S0 and S1 because for R and S we will take 4 combinations in order to decide the output. Similarly here also we take 4 combination of S1 S0 to decide the output. So these should go as address input and MSB should be S1 and LSB should be S0. So the answer should be DIN, S2, S0, S1. So the answer would be D. Is my point clear to you? The address input will be the inputs whose combinations will decide the output. And as we can see from the table, the combinations of S0 and S1 are responsible for deciding which output is getting selected. That is why they are working as address input. And since S2 has a fixed value for each decoder, so S2 will go in enable and data will also go in enable. Next problem. The function realized by the given multiplexer circuit is, okay, we have to choose which function is getting realized. So how you will decide which function is being realized? Here how many variables we have? We have W, X, Y and Z. So let me design the table W, X, Y, Z and we'll have F. So how many combinations can we have? For 4 variable, we will have 16 combinations. Okay. These are 16 combination. When W and X are 0, I0 will be selected in both the multiplexers. So, when W and X are 0, Y1 will be 0 and Y2 will be 1. So, if Y and Z are 0, the function will be equal to I0, which is equal to Y1. When YZ are 0, 1, it will be equal to I1, which is 0. If YZ are 1, 0, it is I2, which is Y2. If YZ are 1, 1, it is I3, which is 1. If YZ are, this is enable. So, enable is 1. Again, if YZ are 0, 0, Y1, 0, Y2, 1. Y1, 0, Y2, 1. Y1, 0, Y2, 1. Okay. Now, when W and X are 0, 0, Y1 will be 0. When W and X are 0, 0, Y2 will be 1. Okay. When WX are 0, 0, 1, Y1 will be 1. When W and X are 0, 1, Y1 will be equal to I1, that is 0. Y2 will be I1, that is 0. When WX are 1, 0, Y1 will be I2, that is 1. When WX are 1, 0, Y2 will be I2, that is 0. When WX are 1, 1, Y1 will be I3, that is 0. And when WX are 1, 1, Y2 will be I3, that is 1. So, at which locations are we getting 1s? At second location, 2. At third location, at fourth location, then fifth, sixth are 0. 7th location we have 1. 8th we have 1. 9, 10 is 0. 11 we have 1. 12 is 0. 13 is 0. 14 and 15 are 1. So, it will be 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 11, 14, 15. Answer would be B. Okay. So, I have figured out the output for each and every combination of input. Based on that, we can find the expression. Next problem. It is saying find the minimum size of ROM required to implement the following set of Boolean expression. Now, size of ROM. How is the size of ROM decided? It is equal to number of input combination cross number of outputs. We have 3 functions. So, we need 3 outputs to implement the following functions. And we have 4 inputs. 4 inputs W, X, Y, Z. That means 16 combinations can be performed for these 4 inputs. So, the size would be 16 cross 3. Remember the logic for the size of ROM. Number of input combination cross the number of outputs. Next question. A 2:1 multiplexer having a switching delay of 1 microsecond is connected as shown. The output of multiplexer is tied to its own select input. The input which gets selected S equal to 0 is tied to 1. Input that is selected when S equal to 1 is tied to 0. Earlier assume that V0 is 0. Okay. If V0 is 0, then select line is also 0. Which input will be selected? 1 will be selected. So, output will become 1. Now, if V0 becomes 1, select line also becomes 1. So, which input will be selected? This input, that is 0. But the output that will go to 0 will be after 1 microsecond because it has a delay of 1 microsecond. Now, the select line becomes 0. If select line becomes 0, the first input will be selected. Output will again become 1. But again after a delay of 1 microsecond. Now, select line is 1. So, output will be becoming 0. But again after a delay of 1 microsecond. So, it is a square wave whose time period is equal to 2 microsecond. So, the frequency will be 10 to the power 6 by 2, or you can say 500 kilohertz. Okay. So, the answer would be C. Next problem. A combinational logic circuit has 3 inputs A, B and C and 1 output Y. The output Y is equal to 1 when at least 2 inputs are 1. Otherwise, Y equal to 0. Find the minima in its minimized SOP realization, the number of two input terms is. So it has three inputs and output will be 1 when at least two inputs are 1. Okay. So let us draw the truth table. Three inputs can have 8 combinations. And output will be 1 when at least two inputs are 1. Here no input is 1, 0. Only one input is 1, 0. One input is 1, 0. Two inputs are 1, 1. One input is 1, 0. Two inputs are 1, 1. Two inputs are 1, 1. Three inputs are 1, 1. When more than two inputs are 1, then output will be 1. That means y has which minterms included? 3, 5, 6, 7. Now if we draw a 3 variable K map, okay, here I'll take MSB as A and other bits as B and C. So we have to mark 1 as 3, 5, 7, 6. Now if you make pairing, this will be a pairing, this will be a pairing, this will be a pairing. And each pair will contain two terms only, so the answer would be 3. Okay, two input terms will be 3 because when we make a pair, one variable is eliminated. If you eliminate one variable, that means only two variables are remaining out of 3 variables. Next problem is based on D flip-flop. It says, in the circuit shown, choose the correct diagram of the output Y from the waveform W1, W2, W3 and W4. So let us observe the circuit. The circuit contains two D flip-flop and both the flip-flops are negative edge triggered. Okay, both flip-flops are negative edge triggered. So that means we have to observe the values of input at the negative edge of the clock. Now in this case, what will be the output of the first Q? For Q, you have to check the value of X1. Let me call it as Q1, Q2. You have to check the value of X1 at which point? At the negative edge of the clock. So it is 0. At negative edge, the X1 is 0, so it will remain 0. At the next negative edge, it is 1, so it will go to 1. At next negative edge, again 1, it will remain 1. At next negative edge, it is 1, so it will remain 1. This will be Q1. What about Q2? For Q2, you have to check the value of X2 at negative edge of the clock. At negative edge of the clock, X2 is 0, so it will remain 0. At the next negative edge, this negative edge, then the next negative edge, X2 is 0, so it will remain 0. At next negative edge, X2 is 0, so it will remain 0. At next negative edge, X2 is 1, so it will become 1. Now what we have to take? We have to take AND of the waveforms. 1 minute. At negative edges, if I am checking, at first negative edge, both are 0. At the second negative edge, X1 is 1 and X2 is 0. And at the third negative edge, 1, 2, 3, 4. At the third negative edge, X1 is 1 and X2 is 0. Okay. And at the fourth negative edge, both are 1. Now, based on this, if you take AND of these will be this waveform, W3. Okay. When both are 1, then only the output will be 1. So the answer would be C. Okay. So that is all from this lecture. In the next one, we'll continue with the problems based on sequential circuit and other small topics such as data converter. Is it fine? So here I have drawn in the timing diagram directly the waveform of Q1, Q2 and then determined the output. So be ready with the concepts of sequential circuit because we'll look at the problems based on sequential circuit in next video. Thank you. Hi guys, in this video we'll continue from where we left off and we'll take a look at some problems that are based on sequential circuit as well as data converters. So in the first problem, if you see, it says, in the circuit shown below, a positive edge trigger D flip-flop is used for sampling D in using clock CK. The XOR gate outputs 3.3 volt for logic high and 0 volt for logic low. The data bit and clock periods are equal. The value of delta T by TCK is 0.15, where delta T and TCK are shown in the figure. Assume that the flip-flop and XOR gate are ideal. If probability for input data bit transition in each clock period is 0.3, find the value of average voltage. Now the waveform of Din is shown like this because Din can go to 0 or it can stay at 1. The probability of transition is 0.3. So suppose if this is your clock pulse, let us assume that Din makes a transition. So Din will make a transition at delta T after the clock edge. So if it is 1, it will become 0. If it is 0, it will become 1. Later on, I'll make the use of probability. Now it says that X is basically XOR of Q and D. For that we need Q. It is a positive edge triggering. So we need to look at the input at positive edge of the clock. So initially if output is 0, the output will become 1. And when output is 1, it will become 0. What about output X? X is basically XOR of D and Q. If D in is 1 and Q is 0, XOR is 1. When both are 1, 1, it will be 0. When 1, 0, both it will be 1. When 0, 0, it will again be 0. That means in each clock period, the output stays at 0 for delta T and stays 1 for rest of the period, that is T minus delta T. So what is the average value of output V0? It is 1 means 3.3 in an interval T minus delta T by T. Okay. So 3.3 into 1 minus delta T by T, that is 3.3 into 0.85. Okay. But now the probability of such a transition is 0.3. So the actual output value will be probability multiplied by 3.3 into 0.85. That is 0.99 into 0.85. So it comes out as 0.8415. So that will be the answer, 0.8415. So if you ever face such a problem where the transition is not sure, it has a certain probability, then assume that the transition takes place and at last multiply average value by the probability of transition. Next problem. A traffic signal cycles from green to yellow, yellow to red, red to green. In each cycle, green is turned on for 70 seconds, yellow for 5, red for 75. The traffic light has to be implemented using FSM. The only input to FSM is a clock of 5-second period. The minimum number of flip-flops required. Now first of all, this question is not actually based on FSM, so no need to get afraid. You just need to apply your brain. So what is the total time period of complete cycle of the signal? 70 for green, 5 for yellow, 75 for red. That is 150 seconds. What is the time period of clock? The clock has a time period of 5 seconds. So how many clock pulses in one cycle? That is equal to 30 pulses. Now 30 pulses, for that you need at least 5 bits because it is less than 2 to the power 5. So 5 bits are required. 5 bits are required means 5 flip-flop are required. If you assume each clock pulse to represent one state, then you need at least 30 states. 30 states means you need 5 flip-flop because 5 flip-flop can give you 32 states. Out of that, 2 states will remain unused and rest of the 30 states can be used. Next problem. In the circuit shown in the figure, A is a PIPO register which loads at a rising edge of the clock. The input lines are connected to a 4-bit bus. So this is a PIPO register. Okay. This is the input lines for the PIPO register. Its output acts as an input to a 16x4 room. I told you in the previous video that the size of ROM, how it is defined? It is equal to number of input combination cross number of output. If the ROM has 4 inputs, that means how many combinations are there? 16, and then it has 4 outputs. Whose output is floating when enable is 0. Output is floating means, this floating means output not connected to bus. Okay. When you make enable equal to 0, its output will not impact this 4-bit bus. But now we have made enable equal to 1. That means the output will be connected to the bus. A partial table of contents of the ROM is as follows. We are given the address as well as data. Is it fine? So ROM is used for storing data. So at certain address, it will have a certain value of data. For that, we are given a certain table. Now it says that the clock to the register is as shown and the data on W bus at time T1 is 0, 1, 1, 0. So now this is our clock edge. Okay. Register is positive edge triggered as you can see in the figure. At this time T1, W is basically 0, 1, 1, 0. So as soon as the clock edge arrives at this edge, 0, 1, 1, 0 is stored in PIPO register. Because W acts as the input to the PIPO register, so at the clock edge, the input gets stored at the output. Now the output of the register is working as the input to the ROM. If it is working as the input to the ROM output data stored at 0, 1, 1, 0. What I mean to say is, the input to the ROM is actually the address. So the output of PIPO register is acting as the input to the ROM. So ROM will think of it as the address input and it will give the output as the data stored at that location. 0, 1, 1, 0 means 6. So at 6, what data is stored? 1, 0, 1, 0. That means W will now be 1, 0, 1, 0 because ROM output is connected to W. Is it fine? So now W will have 1, 0, 1, 0. Now as the next clock edge arrives, 1, 0, 1, 0 is stored in PIPO register at the next clock edge. Again, when it is stored, it acts as address to ROM. This value is actually 10 in decimal. Now if it acts as address to ROM, ROM will output the data stored at this address. So at 10, what is the data stored? 1, 0, 1, 0. So, 1, 0, 0, 0. So W will now be 1, 0, 0, 0. At the next clock edge, this will be stored in the register. But it is asking at time t2, so the answer would be 1,000. That is, the answer will be C. Okay, so it is going in cyclic manner. The data in W is stored in PIPO register, and then that data itself is acting as the address to the ROM, which will again give the output as the data stored at that address. Next problem. For the circuit shown in the figure, two 4-bit parallel in serial out shift register are loaded with the data, are used to feed the data to a full adder. Initially, all the flip-flops are in clear state. After applying 2 clock pulses, the output of the full adder should be. After applying 2 clock pulses. Now, initially all the flip-flops are in clear state. It is 0, 0. Now, when clock pulse arrives, the data at the input of the flip-flop goes to the output. That is, both becomes 1, 1. Okay. And initially carry will be 0. So what will happen is, or let me rewrite this in a different color. Here we will have 1, 1, 0. So when we add this 1, 1, 0, the sum would be how much? Sum would be 1. Sorry, sum would be 0 and carry would be 1. Okay, initially this flip-flop was also clear. That is why I am taking it as 0. Now when the next clock pulse arrives, the next data will go as the input due to shift register. So next data will be 1. Next data would be 1. And this value will be carry over here 1. Now when you are adding 1, 1, 1, sum will be 1 and carry will also be 1. So the answer would be D. Okay. So the carry is being stored by the D flip-flop shown at the bottom, and initially all flip-flops are cleared. That means the output of the lowermost flip-flop is also 0. Next problem. It is asking the switching sequence of the circuit. Here the first flip-flop is a D flip-flop, the second one is a JK, and the third one is a T. So what is the input to the D flip-flop? Here we are getting Q0, here Q2, here Q1. So D is basically Q2, Q1 plus Q0. We know that the next state of Q2 is basically equal to D. So that is Q2, Q1 plus Q0. What about J? J is 1 and K is Q0 bar. So what is the next state of Q1? It is J Q1 bar plus K bar Q1. 1 Q1 bar plus Q0 Q1. So if you apply redundant literal rule, Q0 plus Q1 bar. What about T? What we have in T? Here we have Q1 bar. Here we have Q2 bar. And here we have Q0. Which one we have? Q0. Okay. So T is basically Q2 bar, Q1 bar plus Q0. What is the next state of Q0? It is T XOR Q0, Q2 bar, Q1 bar plus Q0 XOR Q0. Okay. That is Q2 bar, Q1 bar XOR Q0, or leave it as it is. Okay. So now if I want to form the switching sequence, Q2, Q1, Q0, Q2 plus, Q1 plus, Q0 plus, and let me make a column of T also, because the expression of T is very complicated. Now assume that initially all flip-flops are cleared, so the data is 0, 0, 0. Now Q2 plus is Q2, Q1 plus Q0. Q2, Q1 plus Q0 will come 0. Q1 plus is Q0 plus Q1 bar. Q0 is 0, Q1 bar is 1, so the sum will be 1. T is Q2 bar, Q1 bar plus Q0. T will be 1. If T is 1, Q0 will toggle, it will become 1. That is 3. Next take as 3. Q2 plus is Q2, Q1 plus Q0, that is 1. Okay. Q1 plus is Q0 plus Q1 bar, that is 1. T is Q2 bar, Q1 bar plus Q0, that is 1. So it will toggle. So it will become 6. Next take 6. Okay. Q2 plus is basically Q2, Q1 plus Q0, that is 1. Q1 plus is Q0 plus Q1 bar, that is 0. And T, Q2 bar, Q1 bar plus Q0, that is 0. So it will hold. So it is 4. Next take 4. Q2 plus is Q2, Q1 plus Q0, 0. Q1 plus is Q0 plus Q1 bar. Q0 plus Q1 bar is 1. Then T, Q2 bar, Q1 bar plus Q0, 0. So it will hold. That is 2. Next take 2. Q2 plus is Q2, Q1 plus Q0, 0. Q1 plus is Q0 plus Q1 bar, 0. T is Q2 bar, Q1 bar plus Q0, 0. So it will hold. So again we return to 0. So we started from 0. We are returning to 0. What is the sequence? 0, 3, 6, 4, 2, 0. So the answer would be B. Okay. So what I have done is I have directly applied characteristic equation to find the logic of the next state. And based on that logic, I have directly written next state. Next question. In the circuit shown, the switch is momentarily closed then opened. Assume that the logic gates have equal non-zero delay. At steady state, the logic states of X and Y are. If the switch is momentarily closed, it means if S is closed, this signal, let us say A, this A becomes 1. That means X will become 0 at TD. Okay. Then B, C. B will become 1 at 2 TD. TD is the propagation delay. C will be 0 at 3 TD. Y will be 1 at 4 TD. That means A will now become 0 at 5 TD, which means X will become 1 at 6 TD. Similarly, B will become 0 at 7 TD, C will become 1 at 8 TD, and Y will become 0 at 9 TD. So what is happening is X was 0, now it becomes 1. Y was 1, now it becomes 0. So both will toggle continuously. Okay. Next problem. For the 3-digit counter shown in the figure, the output increments at every positive transition of the clock. That means this is a positive edge triggered counter. Okay. Assume ideal diodes and starting state of the counter as 0, 0, 0. If output high is 1 volt, low is 0 volt, we need to find the current flowing through the 50 ohm resistor during the 5th clock cycle. So, when clock is 0, the output is 0, 0, 0. At first clock edge, it becomes 0, 0, 1. At second clock edge, 0, 1, 0. At third clock edge, 0, 1, 1. At fourth clock edge, 1, 0, 0. At fifth clock edge, 1, 0, 1. So it will be 1, 0, and 1. Now, if anode of a diode is high, it is on. If cathode is low, it is on. If anode is high, it is on. So all three diodes are on. So we have a 1 volt source, then a 100 ohm resistor. Here we have 0 volt, 50 ohm resistor, 1 volt, again 100 ohm resistor. Let me apply nodal at this point. V minus 1 by 100, V minus 0 by 50, V minus 1 by 100. Take the LCM as 100. 4V minus 2 equal to 0. So V will be 0.5 volt. So what is this current I? I will be 0.5 by 50. That is 0.01 ampere. Okay. So that will be the current, and in milliampere you can say 10.0 milliampere. Is it fine? That will be the current flowing in the circuit. Next, it says the state diagram of FSM is designed to detect an overlapping sequence of 3 bits is shown in the figure. The FSM has an input in and output out. The initial state of FSM is 0. What it means by overlapping sequence? Suppose we have to detect the sequence, let us say 1101. Suppose this is a sequence that we have to detect. Then if you see such kind of sequence, then it will be counted as twice it is appearing. That means the digits of the first sequence can also be used as a digit of the second sequence, and that is the precise meaning of overlapping. So in this question, we have to first determine using state diagram which sequence is it designed to detect. Okay. So if you see that whenever you want to find out the sequence being detected, move from one state to next. So initially we will be starting at S0. Then as the input becomes 1, we go to the next state. As the input becomes 0, we go to next state. As the input becomes 1, the output becomes 1. So what sequence is needed to make the output 1? 1, 0, 1. So the sequence detected is actually 1, 0, 1. You just have to go from one state to the next state until the output becomes 1. So let us count how many times 1, 0, 1 occurs. It occurs 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. So the output will become 1, 4 times. Okay. So how to detect which sequence is being detected? Just go from one state to the next until you get the output as 1. Next problem. It says that figure shows a circuit implementing a 8-bit DAC using two identical 4-bit DAC with equal reference voltage. Assume that B0 represents LSB and B7 represent MSB and op-amp is ideal. Find the corresponding analog value to obtain corresponding analog value for 8-bit DAC. The value of resistor R should be. Now if it is a 4-bit DAC, this DAC will take B7 as MSB and B4 as LSB, and this DAC will take B3 as LSB and B0 as LSB. So what is the output V0? It will simply be B7 into 2 to the power 3, B6 into 2 to the power 1, B5 into 2 to the power 1, and B4 into 2 to the power 0. This DAC does not know that these are 7th, 6th, 5th and 4th bit. It will only treat them as a combination of 4 bits. So it will directly give the output or the decimal value of the 4-bit combination. What about V01? It will give B3 into 2 to the power 3, B2 into 2 to the power 2, B1 into 2 to the power 1 plus B0 into 2 to the power 0. Again, this DAC treats these 4 bits as it is. It does not know their significance. So it directly gives the output as the combination or decimal value of the 4 bits. Now, when you are taking V01, what is the gain of V01? It is minus RF by R1. That is minus 1. So these 4 bits will go as it is with minus sign. But if you want to find out correct decimal value, then with B7 we need 2 to the power 7. With B6 we need 2 to the power 6. With B5 we need 2 to the power 1. With B4 we need 2 to the power 4. That means each of them should be multiplied by 2 to the power 4. Okay. So that means gain of V0 should be minus 16 or minus 2 to the power 4. That is, if you take minus 8 by R, it should be minus 16, or you can say R must be 0.5 kilo. Is it fine? Then only you can obtain correct coefficient with each resistance or each gain of each bit. Okay. For that we have to multiply each gain by 16, and for that we need R equal to 0.5 kilo. Next problem. A 10-bit ADC with full scale output of 10.24 volt is designed to have plus minus LSB by 2 accuracy. It means that maximum error tolerable is actually half of LSB or half of resolution. LSB means resolution. If the ADC is calibrated at 25 degrees centigrade and operating temperature range is 0 degree to 50 degree, then maximum temperature coefficient should not exceed. Now, due to temperature, if the voltage of ADC is changing, then we will get an error. And how much error can we tolerate? Half into resolution. So first let us find out resolution. Resolution is full scale value by 2 to the power n minus 1. It is approximately 0.01 volt. So what is the maximum error that can be tolerated? 0.005 volt, or you can say 5 millivolt. Now, when you are getting correct result at 25 degree, because ADC is being calibrated at 25 degree, so that means you are getting correct result at 25 degree. Then it means for 0 degree to 50 degree centigrade, you can move 25 degree centigrade in either direction. That means either the temperature can increase by 25 degree or it can reduce by 25 degree. That means the temperature coefficient should be 5 millivolt by 25 degree centigrade. That is 500 by 25, that is, 5000 by 25, 200 microvolt per degree centigrade. That is A option. Is it fine? That means the voltage should not change by more than 5 millivolt for 25 degree centigrade rise in temperature. Moving to the last problem. In the following circuit, the comparator output is logic 1 if V1 is greater than V2 and logic 0 otherwise. The DA conversion is done using the relation. The relation is given here, where B3 is MSB and B0 will be LSB. The counter starts from clear state, the stable reading of LED. So see, this will be actually counter, 4-bit up counter. The counter will keep on counting till it gets the clock signal, and the clock signal will be passed to the counter till the output of comparator is 1. So I'll say that counter keeps counting till comparator output equal to 1. That means the output of DAC or the voltage of negative terminal should be less than 6.2 volt. Okay. The output of DAC should be less than 6.2 volt. Now, initially the counter will be 0, 0, 0, 0. What is the decimal value? It is 0. This relation is basically giving the decimal value and nothing else, because this is the method of conversion to decimal. That itself is VDAC. For 0001, 1, 0010, 2, 0011, 3, 0100, 4, 0101, 5, 0110, 6, 0111, 7. Now at this point the counter cannot count because the output goes above 6.2 volt. Then the counter will stop counting. So that means the steady state output of this counter will be 0, 1, 1, 1. It will stop counting at 0, 1, 1, 1. Okay. Now, what will be the LED display? LED will display, this will be taken as 1 minute, binary to BCD, and it is 2-digit LED display. So 0, 1 will be taken as 1 and 1, 1 will be taken as 3. So the answer would be 13. Okay. Because it will be taken as 2 digits, so it will be 13. Is it fine? So I have just converted binary code into decimal value, 2 bits for each digit, so it will be 13. So that is all from this video, and we have looked at almost all the major topics that can be asked in digital electronics. And I hope that this has given you better exposure into tackling problems based on digital electronics.